Hello, and welcome to the Delaware Blogger Podcast. I'm your host, Antoinette Blake, the DE Diva, aka the Delaware Blogger. And every week I come to you with podcasting pointers that will help you to share your mission and your vision just using your voice. A new episode of the Delaware Blogger Podcast publishes every Saturday at 10 a.m. And if you wish to sponsor a show, please send an email to info@ablakeenterprises.com. Again, a welcome to the Delaware Blogger Podcast. Listen in and share with a friend. Are you ready to broaden your brand and expand your exposure online? Hey, you just want to leave a legacy using your voice. Then a podcast is a perfect medium for you. Hello, I am Antoinette Blake, better known as the DE Diva, aka the Delaware Blogger. I'm also a podcast host of Out and About with Antoinette every Wednesday at 1, as well as a podcast coach. That's right. Podcasting Your Purpose. 5 weeks of coaching one-on-one will get you started from an idea to monetizing your podcast. And I love coming to you every Saturday with just a few podcasting pointers that's going to help you to determine whether or not you're ready to start a podcast, or even if you need some help as a new podcaster. So today on episode 292, we're going to talk about a few tips on podcasting your purpose. Because we know podcasting listenership is increasing each and every day. There are more than 90 million people in America alone who have reported that they listen to a podcast show each and every month. 90 million. Couldn't you just imagine just getting a little piece of that pie? Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, not only are people listening more from home, using their smartphones, their laptops, their tablets, even their desktops, they're listening via their artificial devices, in their cars, as they're walking the dog, doing the laundry, out in the yard. People are listening to podcasts more and more, and people are creating podcasts more and more. Now, granted, people are still listening to music, when they're in the car, but listening to the news and the talk and the sports radio is becoming even more popular, and podcasts are popping. People are consuming more media each and every day. So if you're a business owner or a brand and you want to create more content, or you just want to take that content and repurpose it, the best way in which to do so is with a podcast. There is no reason why you shouldn't want to speak your mind. A lot of people are afraid of that green screen. They don't want to do a video. Videos take too much time, but talking doesn't take time, especially if you love to do it like I do. So if you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, or even, like I say, a side hustler, and you want to start a podcast, make sure you subscribe to Delaware Blogger Podcast, where you'll get podcasting pointers each and every Saturday. And I have free downloadables and checklists that'll help you get started. So always remember, know your why. Yes, why do you want to start this podcast? Not because the DE Diva told you to do it, but why is it? Why are you starting a podcast? What's your podcast going to be about? And who is your target market audience? So once you've answered your why, your podcast will come to fruition. Who is your target market audience? What is the pain point that you are trying to solve? Are you someone that can help others in new home ownership? Perhaps you can help others with cooking, perhaps cleaning, raising children, traveling. Okay, we're about to get out again. Have you gone to places that you've traveled to and you want to share it with others? I just signed up for Verbo, to get a family vacation. I've never stayed at a location that I booked via Verbo, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I want to share my experience from going through, looking at the various properties, the reviews, the booking, all of that. So are you a seasoned traveler or a new traveler and you want to share that content? Then that's what your podcast should be about. You want to have a show that's going to be something that you're going to be committed to. We talk about pod fade. You don't want to fade away after the first few episodes. So know your why. Why is it that you want to talk to people? Why is it that you want to come back week after week, month after month, year after year? So once you've decided on the niche or the topic, why you want to start that podcast, you want to think about the name. Is it going to be unique to yourself? For me, example, the Delaware Blogger podcast. I'm known as a Delaware blogger, out and about with Antoinette. Hey, I'm Antoinette and I'm out and about. So think about your podcast name and description, because every great podcast or every podcast needs a captivating name, and a description. What is it that you're going to name your podcast? What is it going to make you stand out from the rest of the crowd? What kind of tone are you trying to set? So you want to make sure that you choose your name wisely and make sure that it is available. Do that Google search or check out, see if that URL has been used for a website or being used as a handle on various social media platforms. There's various ways that you can Google your name. Simply just go to the Google and type it in and see what pops up, because your description is going to describe your show and it's going to be with you forever. It needs to be a summary, of your podcast. Let your users know what your podcast is about. And it should contain some keywords that pop up in the Google search engines, right? Because we always want the Google bots to find us. If someone goes and says podcast about podcasting, I'm hoping that the Delaware Blogger podcast pops up, because in my description, I talk about podcasting pointers, podcast hosts, podcast guests, podcast tips, So I want my podcast to pop up as well. After you have thought about your why, and then you started naming and you found that name, what type of format? What's your format of your show? Are you going to be a single host like this? Or are you going to have a interview style podcast like Out and About with Antoinette? Are there going to be scripted stories? Or perhaps you're an author and you're reading chapters from your book? Or you're a movie connoisseur or music connoisseur, and you're going to be talking about a particular book or a particular movie or a particular music, particular genre. Remember, the format of your show should fit how your podcast is about, and one that you're comfortable with. Are you comfortable interviewing other people? If not, then don't do it. You don't want to be uncomfortable as a podcast host. Do you prefer simply just talking to, into a mic by yourself? Use that trick. If you don't like talking to yourself, put the mirror in front of you so you can see yourself. So it seems like maybe you're having a conversation with someone that looks like you. If it's not you, you get my drift, right? Or reading, simply reading. If you're a teacher, an educator, and you want to create a podcast for your students. If you're a mom and you want to create a podcast for other kids, reading stories, that is great. So think about the format of your podcast. And when you're ready to start, if you have any questions, hey, I'm here for you. I even have a studio. Yep, a studio in Middletown, Delaware.
Are you ready to join the billion-dollar podcasting industry? If so, Blake's Booth Podcasting Studio is ready for you. Whether you're just starting out and have no equipment, or you are a seasoned pro but need help with production, Blake's Booth Podcasting Studio has everything you need. Conveniently located in Middletown, Delaware, Blake's state-of-the-art production facilities make producing your first or 100th podcast a breeze. No matter what kind of project you have in mind, the professionals at Blake's Booth Podcasting Studio can help with your production or give you the tools to produce it on your own. At the heart of Blake's Booth Podcasting Studio is award-winning blogger, vlogger, and CEO Antoinette Blake, and her goal is simple: to help one more entrepreneur be successful. So stop making excuses and start making your podcast, audiobook, e-course, and other online dreams come true. Call Blake's Booth Podcasting Studio now. 302-261-3530. That's 302-261-3530.
Yes, Middletown, Delaware, Blake's Booth Podcasting Studio. So if you're interested, make sure you check it out or share it with someone that may be in the area. So we talked about choosing that topic, that niche, choosing what is your show going to be about? Is it going to be, meditation, maybe exercise, cooking, child rearing, travel, vehicles, music, whatever the case may be. That is why you're going to start this podcast, because you want to share your information, your knowledge, your expertise. Then you're going to choose that podcast name and make it descriptive. What's your show going to be about? And then your format. Is it going to be a single, hosted show? You're just going to be talking into the mic, or you're going to have an interview, maybe conversational, maybe a mixture of both. Then you want to think about how long each of your episodes are going to be. Well, again, that topic, that format is going to determine if it's just you and the mic, 15 minutes. Might be less, might be more. It depends on what you want to cover for each show. I try to base my shows on about 15 minutes. However, when I'm doing my interviews show out and about with Antoinette, it can go a little bit longer, like 30 minutes. So think about how long each episode should be, 10 to 15 minutes. 15 to 30 minutes is most common. That's about how long people will listen to an episode. And if you have multiple episodes, already pre-recorded or batched or even published, people will binge on your show. Next, you want to think about how often will you be publishing a new episode? Now, we've talked about this before. If you think you want to do a show each and every day and you have the time to do so, God bless you. I don't. Weekly, once a week is pretty good, but now people are saying every other week. Now, the great thing about doing an every other week show is that you can repurpose the content that you've used. So if you have a podcast every other week, repurpose it. Write a blog post, put it on your website, put it on social media, put it on YouTube. That way you have something coming out each and every week. Most people do have a show once a week. Anything less than every 2 weeks is probably not a good idea because you'll be forgotten. If you have a show that's only once a month, people are really going to kind of forget about you. So think about it. When you have a favorite show. What is your favorite show? Is it 911 or something like that? Then it comes on every, Wednesday at 9:00. You want to be able to not only get your listeners accustomed to having a new show come out weekly, but you're going to want to make sure that in your mind, you are doing a show once a week. Like I know I have a show every Wednesday. I know I have a show every Saturday. And what helps is creating a content calendar. That's right. A content calendar is going to keep you organized. So that's what I wanted to cover today on, podcasting your purpose. And if you're interested, again, in scheduling a complimentary discovery call, just send an email to info@ablakeenterprises.com. Now, next week, we'll cover some more podcasting your purpose tips. And until the next time, you know where I am. Make sure you share this show with your family, your friends, your bae, and your boo too. See ya next Saturday. Thank you all for listening to today's episode of the Delaware Blogger Podcast. And if you found anything that I've said of interest to you, please subscribe and share it with others. You may even want to leave a rating or review. And check out a few other episodes too. I invite you to subscribe to my blog, adelblogger.com, where you'll find more podcasting pointers and blogging tips and links to purchase a copy of the Basic Blogging Tips for Beginners or Podcasting Your Purpose resource guide on Amazon. I invite you to send an email to info@ablakeenterprises.com to schedule a 15-minute complimentary discovery call or to enroll in the 5-week podcasting coaching session. So until the next time, this is the DE Diva, aka the Delaware Blogger, wishing you and yours a beautifully blessed day. And remember, sharing is caring. So please share this episode of the Delaware Blogger Podcast with your friend, your family, your bae, and your boo too. See ya. It's the DE Diva, aka the Delaware Blogger.